Hola, I am the Wednesday Night Delight, Johnny Mundo. This is like a movie and a wrestling show with the energy of a rock concert. What does Johnny Mundo bring to Lucha Underground? Me. ECW Heavyweight Champion, 3-time Intercontinental Champion, 7-time WWE Tag Team Champion, passion, experience, electricity. In my opinion, I'm the greatest pro wrestler of all time. American style, Mexican style, Japanese style, European style. I could do all that, and I'm going to be here every week to prove it. October 29th, tune in to the first episode of Lucha Underground on the El Rey Network. Trick or treat, bitches.
Welcome back, everybody. Pro Wrestling Experience here on ChicagoLandSportsRadio.com. Hope you guys enjoying the show so far. Fun ride, as always. Always been a blast getting to do these Lucha Underground interviews. You always check it out on the El Rey Network. And coming on the show today is one of my favorite wrestlers. A very underrated guy. He's in Lucha Underground, former WWE Tag Team Champion, Intercontinental Champion, ECW Champion, 7-time Tag Team Champion, and one of the major stars of Lucha Underground, John Morrison. John, how's it going, man?
Good, brother. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
And thank you for your statements. I love Lucha Underground. Love everybody involved. It's a great show.
Absolutely. I want to start off with that before we get to other stuff. Obviously, everybody knows your work, starting off with Tough Enough and then going through the WWE. Now we're here with Lucha Underground. Got this new feud now with King Cuerno. Tell us a little bit about Lucha Underground and how you've been enjoying your experience so far.
Loving it. It's Lucha Underground is like a combination of Lucha Libre, like American pro wrestling, and gritty action films. So it's got everything that I like, man. Like action movies, wrestling, and storytelling. The roster is, I think, the best roster in the world as far as talent goes. And backstage, everybody's getting along. It's really exciting because it's a new startup federation, and it feels like it's finding its identity week to week. So it's exciting to be there. The shows are great and they're improving, and the roster is really coming into its own and defining exactly what Lucha Underground is every week. And I think people that watch it on TV can feel that and can see that.
How much a fan were you of the Lucha Libre style? I know you're a very athletic guy. Just talk about getting to transition from American style wrestling to Lucha Libre down there for Lucha Underground.
Well, first of all, down there is Los Angeles, brother, my hometown. The style of Lucha Libre is different than obviously WWE, but I think Lucha Underground is like a hybrid of both, which I'm enjoying. I was first and foremost a fan of WWF when I was growing up. Bushwhackers, Macho Man Randy Savage, Hogan, Shawn Michaels, like those guys. Mm-hmm. But then when WCW hit the scene, and I saw Rey Mysterio, and saw Ray at ECW, and then Psychosis and Juventud, Super Crazy. I started, my mind was, blown. I was like, holy shit. I didn't know that stuff was possible in wrestling. And I became a huge fan of it. And then really I was a huge fan of Rey Mysterio. And I debuted against him and Eddie in MSG 2005 with Eminem, and got the chance to wrestle him several times. And to this day, my favorite matches are with among my favorite matches are with Rey Mysterio, and I'm a fan of movement and wrestling, and Lucha Libre is a cool, original combination of both of those. And I think it's past due for a show like Lucha Underground to show the world what Lucha Libre is and what luchadors can do, and it's cool to be part of it.
And it's also cool getting to see some of these other guys from other companies join interest in getting to be part of the roster. Recently, we saw El Patron make his debut there, and now I found out yesterday that Rey Mysterio is now in AAA. So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if he's actually part with you guys yet, but if he is, I know you got to battle with him a couple times on SmackDowns and stuff. Would he be? What's your thoughts about Rey Mysterio joining AAA?
Well, About Rey Mysterio or El Patron?
Rey Mysterio.
I mean, I think Rey Mysterio should come to Lucha Underground. I hope that he does. I think that he should for selfish reasons, because I want to wrestle him. He's at a point in his career where he's done everything, and the next thing Rey does is going to be because he wants to do it. So whatever he does is going to be, hopefully, exactly what he wants to do. And I hope it's Lucha Underground, because I love hanging out with him. I love wrestling him, and I think the fans do too. So that'd be really rad. For El Patron, I had a bunch of matches with him when we were with WWE, but a lot of them were short TV matches, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to having make a pay-per-view style match with him. He's super talented, again, super nice guy. Like had some fun, crazy times with him on some of the Florida tours, and when him and I get in the ring, I think we're going to show everybody what both of us can do.
We're talking to Johnny Mundo from Lucha Underground. He's at Twitter at The Real Morrison. Last week's Lucha Underground was really cool. A fantastic brawl with you and King Cuerno. Tell us a little bit about King Cuerno for those that haven't seen him perform before.
Very amazing talent. There was about 10 to 20 minutes of that brawl that didn't make the air that we did. We beat the crap out of each other last week, and it's too bad they couldn't stay at the show. We just beat the crap out of each other. We did a bunch of cool stuff that didn't make the air, which is only for the people that were actually in attendance at the Lucha Underground taping. King Cuerno, known as Hijo del Fantasma in Mexico and AAA, is a second-generation superstar. Very talented, very athletic, a student of the game, and somebody that I really like being in the ring with, because he pushes me to bring it to the next level. He wants to do more every time. He's very fast, very powerful, and smart, and he understands different styles of wrestling, more so than most. Lucha Libre, American Pro Wrestling, psychology behind both, and storytelling. And it's an honor for me to be working with him.
Who's some of your favorite guys that you haven't competed against in Lucha Underground?
I'd love to have a drag-out, knockdown match with Phoenix. I was in the ring with him for Aztec Warfare.
Yeah.
But that dude is super talented, and I'd love to have the same thing. I'd love to have a pay-per-view style match with him. He's there's nothing that he can't do. Mil Muertes, same thing. I've been in the ring with him a couple times, but it would be awesome to have a feud or a couple matches with him. Man, there's so many guys. The whole roster, everybody they haven't wrestled with, it's fresh, and they have their own identity and their own ideas. Tejano, Pentagon Jr., Aerostar, the list goes on and on. Drago, it's pretty cool because I can learn just by watching these guys' matches, all these different combinations of movements that I never even thought of, and So, dude, I'm excited every week that I show up to Lucha Underground.
Also, the mixture of the women wrestling down there, Sexy Star. We even got mini luchadors, Masquerita Sagrada, a veteran in luchador wrestling as well. I guess the next thing before we move on here, what's your thoughts on Dairo Cueto? As people see him on the show, always seems to get in your way or be a thorn in your sign. What's your thoughts on Dairo Cueto?
Dairo Cueto, I mean, figures, a wrestling promoter who's also a jackass, right?
Yeah.
That never happens in wrestling.
Yeah.
He's a guy who is in over his head, and he's really just around for money, which in wrestling is pretty much why everyone's around, isn't it?
Yeah, just about.
Especially the promoters, at least. Maybe not the guys that are in the ring. I think he adds a lot to the show, and he's a talented guy, but his ego is out of control. I'll just put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any favorite Chicago memories?
Shoot, man, my debut in SmackDown in Carlito's Cabana was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
My first appearance on Raw after Tough Enough with Matt Cappotelli was in Chicago. I also have like a ton of family in Chicago too, so I go there almost every year for Thanksgiving and hang out with my cousins and drink Irish whiskey and tell stories about wrestling and what everyone's doing. I really dig Chicago a lot.
How would you compare Chicago to other wrestling towns? There's a lot of like towns that are known for like fans that are like really hardcore, this or that. I'm not really part of like the whole like internet wrestling community or whatever. I'm just like promoting the positives of wrestling, that type of thing. I'm not gonna say I know everything about wrestling, but it's kind of cool learning from guys that do it. That's why we do these interviews on here. So that's how I do my learning. And how would you compare performing in Chicago as opposed to performing at like Madison Square Garden or down there in Philadelphia?
I think Chicago is similar to Madison Square Garden. It's a very hot crowd. Like the people really dig wrestling and appreciate it. I think the further you go towards Philadelphia, like the crowd like in the Northeast, especially Philly, really like violence. Actually, it's not that like LA doesn't like violence, and Chicago doesn't like violence. It seems like that's all they want. It's hard, man, because like I could wrestle in Chicago tomorrow and then wrestle again in Chicago in 6 months, and those two crowds would be different. So it's pretty tough to make generalities about cities. Mm-hmm. I personally like Chicago because every time I wrestle there, I get like 20 or 30 tickets for all my family to come watch, and we hang out after. And also, like I've had some really fun times hanging with Punk in Chicago. Yeah. That was always the highlight of our trip when we were riding together. We'd all stay at his house and have a bunch of people over after all the wrestling events. So, yeah, like I said, I'm a big fan of Chicago.
Yeah, you mentioned Punk, and there's been some great single feuds that I felt that's kind of been underrated when you're in WWE. What was some of your favorite, who you say you had the most chemistry with when you're in WWE, as far as, like, in singles competition?
That's always a tough question. It's like asking Jeff Foxworthy what his favorite redneck joke is, you know? What is my favorite? What is the best? It's hard to say. I really like wrestling Punk. I enjoyed wrestling Miz. Mysterio, I already mentioned. Ziggler, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy, for a long time was my favorite person to wrestle. Mm-hmm. It's hard to pick any just one. Like everybody's different, and you have to think about every matchup differently. And that's part of what makes wrestling fun is the combinations and different possibilities.
Eminem was a really interesting tag team. You, Joey, and Melina did a lot of great stuff. Starting out the feud with Eddie and Ray, multiple tag team championship reigns. I know Joey went through a lot through his career. What's your thoughts about how Joey's progressed over the last couple years and the fact he's now main eventing Raws each week?
Couldn't be happier for him, man. When I was watching him in the ring with Jon Stewart, I was falling out, man. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. I couldn't be happier for Joey. That guy eats, breathes, and sleeps wrestling, man, and he has his whole life. He was a genius at technology when I met him, and she says 12 years ago, and he's just been improving and upping his game ever since. So it's really cool to see him where he's at, you know.
When I was watching the show last week, Matt Striker was talking about how that, like, you kind of, like, lost your passion for wrestling and then you were trying out different roles for Hollywood. Is there, like, any new movies that you're in that's coming out soon?
Yeah. The last movie I did is called Wrestle Madness. Mm-hmm. It comes out everywhere March 10th, Blu-ray and DVD. It's by the people that made Air Bud. It's got a talking dog and a talking monkey. Nice. I'm the main bad guy wrestling in the movie. And it's got John Ratzenberger from Cheers, he played Cliff. Mason Vale Cotton, a kid who was on Mad Men. David Milchard, very talented comedic actor from Vancouver. Will Sasso does the voice of the monkey. And Fred Willard is on there. He's super funny on commentary. Mm-hmm. And it's a great family movie. Super funny. It made me laugh out loud several times. And I think everybody should check that out. And the main thing that I've been working on is my own personal project is called Boone the Bounty Hunter. It's the coolest thing that I've ever done. It's about a narcissistic reality show bounty hunter who boons celebrities. And it's currently in post. I'm going actually right now to sit with the editors again. I've been sitting with them every day this week. And when that's done, I think that'll be something that everyone who knows me can enjoy. And I'll keep you posted for updates on Boone the Bounty Hunter. Follow me on Twitter at John Morrison. Check out Boone the Bounty Hunter on IMDb. And I'll keep you posted for sure on how that's progressing.
A couple more things before I let you go. What do you say is the biggest lesson you learned in wrestling? We've seen you in Tough Enough. We've seen you in WWE. We've seen you in Lucha Underground now. Just about 10 years now in the wrestling business. What do you say is the biggest lesson you learned so far?
I'd say a couple things. One, stay passionate. Stay believe in what you're doing, which is not easy because a lot of times you're at a place or you're wrestling for a place and they're not taking your ideas and it starts to feel like you're spinning your wheels. Don't let that negativity take over. And constantly you have to think about who you want to be in the wrestling business, what your character is, what you want to be doing. And if you're doing that constantly and you find out that it's not wrestling, then I think maybe you're in the wrong business. But for most people that are on the main roster on WWE, for everybody in Lucha Underground, that wheels are constantly turning, thinking about wrestling. And staying positive and keeping that up is, I think, one of the keys to success. Another big one is basically don't take yourself out of the game. And by that, I mean you have to make sure that you're physically capable of wrestling, mentally capable, and you're 100% present all the time when you're in the ring and backstage. For me, the physical part of it was easy at first, and then the road schedule started making it more difficult because you're traveling, you're doing 200 shows a year with WWE. You barely have time to sleep, and staying healthy starts to become a concern, which is why I developed the fitness program. I don't know if you've heard about it, called Out of Your Mind Fitness. It's a complete functional training regimen that is specifically how I have trained my whole career. And I've been really happy with the results. I feel like without it, I would have fallen apart a long time ago.
Now, one last thing. WrestleMania's coming up soon. What's your favorite WrestleMania match that you got to compete in?
Man, it's probably the WrestleMania 24, the Money in the Bank ladder match. That was the first time I felt like I had a real featured spot at WrestleMania, and all the people in that match were good friends of mine. And it's hard to pick one WrestleMania moment, man, because Mania is awesome.
No problem. Check out Johnny Mundo on Lucha Underground every Wednesdays on the El Rey Network. He's on Twitter at The Real Morrison. Check out further information on Twitter, his future projects, also his fitness program as well.